Hello everyone, welcome back to the KMTRADERS channel. So this is the full market analysis volume 60. Again, we're just going to be giving you an insight of what we're looking for next week. We're also going to take a look at what our previous analysis was as well. We're also going to cover gold, euro, USD, NZD tomorrow in a separate video, and we can discuss some things in a bit further detail. So we'll start off with AUDUSD. So what we were looking at last week was a potential move towards the upside following a move to the downside. Now, the scenario that we actually mentioned was that if price stayed above this this lower high here, and what actually happened is it actually spiked through and caused a bit of an upside move. So I'm actually changing the bias in the short term, because I do believe now that we've seen this spark towards the upside, I think it can bring confidence for us for price to essentially move just a little bit further up. So if you can see how price action is quite bullish already, we can see the EMAs have switched over nicely. We can see we're entering 0.785, seeing a slight rejection, but I do believe that we could burst through this anyway. So we could be looking at something along the lines of something like this, like that, and then ideally what we could be looking out for, again, this is going to be a decider because it depends how strong this push towards the upside is, but we could look at something like this where price starts to drop into 0.75. So again, we could be looking at a sell-off opportunity here, which is potentially the main aspect that I am looking out for. I am quite bearish on this for the time being until we actually break this structure high, so 0.8. If we do break this and go higher, then I'm confident that we could be bullish here. But as long as price is still below this level, 0.8, we could be anticipating a move towards the downside to potentially come into 0.75. So that's what I was looking at for last week, but unfortunately we had price come into that level, taking this this low here out, and in order for my sell bias to be valid, price had to basically stay above this. But as you can see, we had a spike to the downside, a shift change there, but this was quite strong. Had a rejection candle here, so I wasn't too confident to take a sell here, and quite so what actually happened ended up happening is there was strength towards the upside, and that's what I can see right now, and that's why we didn't pull a sell order here. Of course, there could have been a good buying scenario here. I do believe there was a nice setup here. Again, 150 pips, but that's obviously you got to get your correct bias in order to take those moves. So unfortunately we didn't have this upside move just yet, but we're still anticipating this move towards the downside, which I do think is much more it has much more potential of reward. So this one has a good 400 pips if it does stay below 0.8 and has that good turnover towards the market. So again, I'm just waiting for price to show its cards first, like it has done here, and give us some price action moves before we take some proper trades from this. But again, we'll have to keep an eye on this setup over the next few days or so. So yeah, happy with that one. Let's move on to UJ. So if we take a look at UJ right now, what we're looking out for is some sort of retracement here. We can see how price is staying around the 107.5. So as long as we're above this level here, we should be able to see more continuations to push higher. I'm quite happy how price has performed over last week, and there was a potential sell-off opportunity. I just possibly missed this one in general, but most likely I'm waiting for price to kind of shift towards the upside and take some buying opportunities. So we can see prices has come nicely into our area over 108.5. So what we just need to do now is see where this wants to go. If we could stay above 107.5, we could see more potential towards the upside, and we could possibly clear 111. But obviously it's up to, let me just get rid of this actually and start a new arrow. But yeah, it's up to whatever price action does right now. If for example, if price just starts to push up, then of course we'll just have to wait for some sort of retest along the way. Or the other scenario is through the week that through the open of the week we get a push down and then we get that continuation up. So whatever exactly happens, you know, the main bias is it's towards the upside. So again, you just have to wait for price action and just wait for how the market responds towards the opening. Again, this was most likely due to the NFP, so huge push towards the downside. Most likely, we could be waiting for some sort of switch here. But yeah, personally, I'm just waiting for price to show its cards first, you know, towards the upside, and then we can start to look in for those buying opportunities. So yeah, moving on now to CAD JPY. So yeah, what we were looking out for here is for price to make a bit of a continuation lower, but as we can see, price has a lot more strength in its card. So there was no, for me, there was no buying option for this. Sorry, there was no buying option here. Yeah, there was no buying option here because of price didn't make a deeper retracement. But yeah, I'm looking into sells now for this one for now. Just purely based on the fact that this is way over extended. So I'm not entirely too sure where this will exactly turn over, but if we start to see price you know, start to fall off through the week, then so be it. But the other scenario is that price, you know, wants to make a bit more of a push towards the upside before we get that drop off. So either way, I'm not exactly interested in taking any buying opportunities anymore. You know, this one would have been it if I'm being truly honest, but obviously I wasn't expecting price to be so sharp. So as you can see, price is making its way towards the upside. I'm not sure if there's any divergence at hand. Oh yeah, there is. So you can see that there's some nice, there's a play here. And obviously you can see something like that. So, you know, I hope that kind of makes sense why we could be looking at some drop-offs opportunities here. Another key thing that we can look into is that EMA, you know, nicely rejecting potential push to the upside. That's why maybe we could start to see a push to the upside and then that fall off. But again, it really just depends what the market wants to do through the market open. But yeah, more or less, I'm looking for some sell-off opportunities, and I'm not sure if we are going to head into 85 just yet, but we could, just based on the fact that how strong this move is and how bullish we have been for a very long time now. But I do think we can start to look for some sell-off opportunities just based on this move towards the upside right now. So yeah, we'll see how price performs over the next few days or so and into the market open. So coming into EJ, what I'm looking out for this, we were looking for a bit more of a deeper correction and then waiting for a bit of more of a price reaction, but we see that we've had a bit more of a, you know, bullish momentum or bullish sentiment towards the upside. So what we could be looking out for here, or let me just get rid of that. We could be looking for you know, price to make its way to the upside and break in to that level here. So I don't want to go any further than this for now. Because one or two things can happen is that price just absolutely blows off and it continues to push higher. So I want you to be aware of that can happen. For me to take a sell-off opportunity here, it's going to be quite risky, and so I don't want to go further into, you know, what I want to see in the future sort of thing for now. I just want to focus on the next step, which is what I think could happen. The other thing is, because we could actually see price break this structure, push higher, and this could intentionally form a divergence here. So that could be, you know, again, this is just anticipating the future sort of scenario. But again, it depends if price stays below this divergence. So that'd be a good sign to watch out for. But yeah, we could expect some sell-off opportunities here and ride it down just to test this downtrend as a potential area. It could line up to 131, so, you know, I may just put a zone out here just for as a, you know, a rough target. You know, it's not anywhere definite, but, you know, there is, you know, if we were to take the high to the box, it's around 150 pips. So again, to me, that's a good enough reward for myself, and I'm happy to look into this further. So we'll keep an eye out for this in the future, or sorry, in the next few days or so, and we'll see what can come from EJ. So yeah, let's take a look at NZDJPY. So what we can see here, we're coming very close to a critical level here. So what we spoke about last week was a potential sell-off to the downside, and a retest on the uptrend, and then a push lower. As you can see, that actually didn't happen. The other scenario that we had was price to push up and then actually have some sort of reaction from this tight range here. So what we can see here, that there is a potential sell-off opportunity here. I do believe that I may have potentially missed it. That's because it happened after my trading hours, but that's not a problem. Like I always say, that there is an opportunity to take the retest of any of these trades. So for now, what we could potentially expect is something where price just starts to drop off and starts to push lower into to take out these zones, potentially into 75.5, which is all the way down here, which I know is quite far. And obviously this is very optimistically speaking, but that doesn't mean that you should definitely hold on to this trade from the upside to the downside, because anything can happen along the way. But essentially, I am looking for sells as long as we stay below this level here, so around 79.2. But if we do get a breaker structure towards the upside, then we could be looking at continuations, and then we will have to update yourselves with this. But as you can see, we've got a very strong uptrend forming here, and if we do get a break of this, it would be quite significant through the aspect of pushing lower, so we could get more retests along the way. So there will be hopefully multiple opportunities to get in. Again, it's just a matter of being in the trading hours and being awake for the trades to take place, if that makes sense. So again, quite happy with this one. We'll see how this plays out. Looking at AJ over the next few days, so what we started to anticipate here is for price to push up through the week, and as we can see nicely, it has done so. What I'm looking into for this is much of a similar situation with NZDJPY, is a sell-off opportunity, and as we can see, we started to pretty much anticipate this, so we could be potentially looking for some sells through next week. And essentially we just need to wait for some sort of confirmation through to this. But we can see that price is slowly stepping up. I'm not entirely too sure if there's any divergence at hand. There is a very slight divergence forming here, so we can see on a very lower aspect, but there is a very minor divergence forming here, so that could be something that we could be looking into. I think again the key thing that we could be waiting for is that EMA switch over, which would be a definite thing for us to take a sell here. But ideally, if this does play out nice and as the way we want it to, we could in theory wait for this to drop into 82, which is obviously a long way. And again, I don't recommend you to hold on to this trade, because obviously anything can happen, it can reverse, etc. But this could be good 300 pips, and again, it's just how you would manage and protect your profits as price does drop. So whether if you're securing profits or taking out a certain exit point, that's totally up to you guys. But essentially there can be multiple opportunities along the way if this does drop off. So another thing that you could look into as well is just this this uptrend here. I know it's very horizontal speaking, but it's not exactly steep, but this could be a potential future retest opportunity. Again, this is only if price does come to this level, of course. Price breaks the structure to the downside, entry point there, bang, straight into 82. Again, you just need to be mindful that this sell-off scenario is only valid if, you know, price stays below this high here. So around 85.5, I do believe that this could, you know, still turn over towards the downside. But again, sell opportunities are only valid as long as price stays below this high here. Okay, so coming into our last two pairs, so USD chef. So yeah, this one I was actually anticipating more continuations towards the upside. Didn't actually participate into this market for the time being. This one has actually been quite obviously has been hugely bearish for now. I do anticipate price though to make some sort of retracement at some point. So again, all I am looking out for this pair is you know, bullish opportunities. So we can get rid of this now because we've obviously hit 0.91. So essentially what I'm looking out for, whether the price obviously, you know, pushes lower or higher, I am looking for an upside move. Now, whether price breaks this, you know, starts to push a lot higher, then we can wait for those higher continuations like so. But essentially, I don't want to look into this too much detail because I do think that this is quite bearish. If we start to get some trend lines drawn in here, I do think that we could potentially see more further downside moves. Again, it really just comes down to how, you know, the US dollar is performing over the next few days or so. But I do think that there is room for more downside opportunity, and let me just draw on a nice simple trend line here. So yeah, this could be, you know, something of significance to watch. You know, you could expect a lot of, you know, two things to happen. If we get a break structure of this, retest, and then push higher, that could be a good sign of continuation and move towards the upside. So I wouldn't disregard that. But again, if you get a continuation, retest, and push price to push higher, but then it falls lower, I can also argue that that's still a valid move as well, but because for price to even do that, it's going to take a lot of you know, pips to even get up to that point. So that's why, you know, if you do find yourself in a buying situation, you know, if price was to retrace, there is a good 100 pips up for grabs, and that's why I always say don't hold onto trades for too long. You know, have a target point in mind and stick towards it. And if price continues to rise, there's always more points that you can enter in. So yeah, what I'm looking out for again for this is, you know, if price starts to make a retracement straight away through market open, or if price starts to push lower and then starts to retrace, you know, you can look into something like that. So two scenarios here, similar sort of situation, but ultimately we are looking for buying opportunities here. Again, it's just a matter of staying patient with this because this is going to take a long time. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that one. So finally, looking at USD CAD. So this one has absolutely dropped off. I was actually expecting for price to actually continuate, but as soon as price broke lower than the current low here, pretty much this indicated that price still really does want to drop off. So as we can see, if I get rid of these zones or these levels now, we can see how price is just continuously dropping and dropping. So for me, for this, I do really want to see price eventually switch towards the upside. So whether that price you know, wants to continue to push lower, which it really does look like it does want to. It's ended the week with a strong candle towards the downside. So I do believe we do have more time for price to push lower, and then we can look for that push towards the upside, potential retest of some sort of structure level, and then we could be looking at price to heavily switch towards the upside. But for now, I'm not exactly too interested into this pair for any sell-off opportunities. The best opportunity was at the upside at point, obviously, when we were looking at this, and obviously we just couldn't get into it because of the absolutely drop in that market, which was ridiculous, and it was really fast. So as we can see, price was really pushing lower and lower from that. But yeah, we'll see how price you know, recovers. I do believe it does need to have some sort of retracement So that's why I think that this upside opportunity, even if it manages to come to this downtrend here from market price action point open, is a good 300 points, so 300 pips. So that's what I'm saying. This could be a good opportunity for some good swing moves here. So let's not keep I don't want to carry on stringing this analysis video but yeah, essentially there's some good opportunities here for next week as we come into May. We're going to be covering gold, Euro USD and NZD USD over tomorrow, and we'll give a catch up on those pairs. So again, I do appreciate your time for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, consider subscribing. If you have any other questions, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. I'm more than happy to answer them, and I'll just get back to you as soon as I can. So that will be all from us. Thank you very much for listening, guys, and I'll see you all in our next video.